Hey viewers, welcome to Real Astrology once again, and we are back with Visti Larsen. And on my personal request, I wanted to know about Ketu in transit because we are doing the sequels on Ketu. So I wanted to know what Ketu in transit would be with the Ketu transit, the Ketu videos. So Visti, please tell me something about Ketu in transit.
So Ketu in transit. Obviously, when we speak of transits, we are speaking of whether we're looking at mundane transits for everybody in the globe, or we're looking at transit results for people individually. Obviously, that's our first concern.
Right.
Herein which the general methodology we use for transits mundane-wise, that means what's going on in the globe, is that we divide the transits based on the type of signs they're going to transit into. For example, we understand that the dual signs are most important for wealth transits for the world, like when we see issues with the markets and stocks and things like that, share market, investments, speculation. That happens always, that's always most relevant in the Jiva Rashis. The Jiva Rashis are the dual signs.
Right.
Okay. So the Jivas are more anxious when the nodes enter the dual sign. So this is generally for both the nodes, keep in mind. All right, because when we speak of Ketu, we also have to speak of Rahu. So right now, Ketu is now moving into the dual signs, and we should be seeing an upset in the market shortly. It's already hinting at that recently, and it's going to be more so when they transit into the signs here in the spring. Okay. Now, if they were in the fixed signs are called Mula signs. They are the places where the roots and the vegetables and all the growth, the trees, the plantations are. And just as the nodes were disturbing the Jiva Rashis and the financial markets, they also disturb the other signs they will go through, regardless of whether they load it or not. To some extent, own sign is nice and beneficial and protective, but malefics disturb. And so also when the nodes go into the Mula Rashis, we're supposed to see disturbances in the availability of food. Okay? And so this can mean issues with drought in certain parts of the globe, availability of produce because of that. It can also mean availability of resources to create items, like it could be items which are created from foods and plants, like plastic, rubber, all right? Rubber depends on trees, plastic depends on chemicals like oils and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so distinctly, when we talk about rubber and such things and trees that produce that, they will be hit when the nodes are in the Mula Rashis, but also all sorts of other foods. Like when we see issues with growing rice, wheat, corn, that's all an issue with the Mula Rashis, the fixed signs being transited by the nodes. The Dhatu signs, those are the movable signs, okay? Mm-hmm. So whenever the movable signs are being affected by the nodes, the dhatu, which means now we're getting into the oils, now we're getting into the stones, the metals, they become less in number. So when the world goes through issues with the availability of oil, mm-hmm. all right, then we are seeing the nodes go into those signs. Some people will argue those are very important for the markets as well. Oil is a very big factor in that. Gold is also a very big factor in that. The availability of these metals or these chemicals, these dhatus. Earth as well. Property prices are also being affected by this somewhat. Okay? So these are affected by the nodes entering the movable signs. So that's the general way that we read mundane transits. General.
And Saturn is going to join Ketu. What do you have to say on that?
You know, I don't want to be the one who says time to sell your stock. Okay. But I certainly would be very careful with my shares and stocks if I had some significant investments in that regard when this transit is occurring.
This is on the mundane, this is on the very mundane level you are talking about, yes.
Now, some people will say, but Visti, just because the whole world is having problems with oil or whole world having problems with markets, doesn't mean I will lose money on that, which is true. You could be the lucky one who invests in stocks which benefit when the rest of the market is down.
Right. Right.
So the individual transit, and this is where some of the biggest secrets of the tradition are. They're not really secrets because they're only secret until everybody else knows, right? So when you use transits in a birth chart, it is the common method to go straight to the moon sign. Common method. You take your Rashi and you see transits from there. But nobody told you which Rashi. They said Janma from Chandra. But they didn't say which Chandra. Did they mean Chandra and Rashi chart only? How about Chandra and Navamsha chart? How about Chandra and Dashamsha chart? How about Chandra and any of the Vargas? Okay. So Parashara gives us a hint in this regard. He says that that when you read wealth and Daridra yogas and all that, you must use Chandra and Navamsha. He didn't say Rashi chart, Navamsha. Okay. In fact, he speaks very sparingly of the Chandra in the Rashi chart from the perspective of wealth. Okay. So this is because that truthfully, everybody wants to read their Bhagya. Okay. Let us try this context. Rashi chart is you in your own small bubble. Okay. And it is really the world outside which is deciding how nice this bubble is. Okay. And so when you read transit charts, or transits, which are relevant to the whole world, why are you only looking at your own small bubble to measure the results? Okay. So, therefore, if you are reading Chandra in the Rashi chart, it must mean you're reading your health. So any transits which are relevant from the perspective of wealth, money, finances, things like that, why would you read it from Rashi chart? Doesn't make sense. So, number one advice to everybody who's reading transits, start treating your Navamsha Chandra as the focal point of the transit. So when somebody says, Acha Visti Shani is in Danu, so then I say, okay, now where is your Janma Rashi in Navamsha, your Janmamsha if you want to call it. So you will say, okay, mine is in Kumbha. My moon is in Kumbhamsha. So moon is in Kumbha. Now I'll read Shani's transit in Danu from Kumbha.
Okay.
I'm not going to take Shani and see which Navamsha he's transiting in, but where he will spend, what is that, 2.5 years divided into 9. Goodness, you will spend a few months over there, like 3 or 4 months, something like that. All right. I'm not interested in that. No. I'll take the entire Danu and see where it is from Kumbha, because my moon is in Kumbha Amsha. It's in, for your knowledge, it's in Kanya Rashi Kumbha Amsha. Okay. There will be very different results coming from this. Because from my Rashi, it is in Kantak, 4th house. Wow. Okay. But from my Amsha, it's in 11th house, Labha Bhava, fantastic for wealth. Okay. So now, I don't want to show people my bank account, but I can say that I've had a very good year wealth-wise when Shani was in Danu. All right? Must have
fulfillment of desires from all angles.
Because of the Kumbhamsha. But if I had used the Kanya Rashi, I would have gone wrong in my prediction.
Yes.
That's the thing. You see that? So if you're reading transits, you have to read this. Now, how about Ketu? So I've given the basis now. When you're going to read these transits, you should use the Amsha of Chandra. If you're sincere, you want to really understand what's going on, the Amsha of Chandra is the way to do it. We have other secret Amshas of Chandra we use for transits. All sorts of funny stuff we use. Okay? We even have a water level. We have a tap measurement to see is the tap open or closed with regards to Chandra for money. All sorts of funny stuff we have in the tradition. At least the beginning is to read the Amshas. Okay? Like I only said Navamsha. Navamsha is extremely relevant. If you're going to read Sade, Sate, Kantak, Shani, all those big transits of Saturn, at least, make sure you're using Navamsha of Moon. Don't use Rashi of Moon. You'll go wrong. You'll just forget it. Just forget it. It won't work. Oh, Sade Sati is happening. I'll ask, are you getting married? Okay. Congratulations, I'll say. Get congratulations. You started working out, lifting weights. Congratulations. Very good. Sade Sati. Won't work. You see, you have to use Navamsha of Chandra.
Right.
All right. So, now, We will use this for all transits, not just Shani. I mentioned Shani because it's a big topic, right? And in transit, we always have the three big transits: Shani, nodes, and Jupiter. Always biggest and most important. And the nodes are more or less the barometer on this. Shani on the negative side, Guru on the positive side, Rahu and Ketu on the barometer. Now, Shani and Rahu have the same results when it comes to transits. The Shastras speak of Shani and Rahu are very good when they're transiting the 3rd, 6th, and 11th from Chandra. Here, obviously, I'm using Chandramsha.
Yes. Okay.
So that means if Rahu is auspicious, Ketu is also becoming auspicious. So this means that Ketu is very positive in 9th house, opposite 3rd. Okay. 5th house, opposite 11th. And 12th house, opposite 6th. Okay. So if you just read Rahu, you will get Ketu. All right. So Ketu is very auspicious in 9th from Chandramsha, in 5th from Chandramsha, and 12th from Chandramsha. Go figure. Kona and 12th house.
Right.
Right? So that's how we're going to read it. Now, if not, then it is negative.
Okay.
This is the step 1. This is Chandramsha. Step 2. This does not really tell you how your bank account is doing. This just tells you how happy you are and how much growth you see. The next step, from Aruda Lagna. Aruda Lagna is quite pivotal for transits. Because that is how you measure your place in this planet. Now, the irony is, this Aruda we will see in Rashi chart, not in Vargas. So Chandramsha works better in Vargas because you are measuring the outside world's impact on you now. Are they telling you, let's have growth or not? Let's not have growth. Okay? But the Aruda is really the real measurement for you. Do you find that you're growing because they're giving you growth? So you could have these two. One is showing Chandramsha, hey, what does the world encourage you to do? Then you have Aruda Lagna. What am I getting out of it?
Yes. Okay.
So now the Aruda Lagna. From there, we have a very simple method. We say Trikona. Trikona is the method. If Rahu is in transiting Trikona from Aruda, you will have Bhoga. Okay? Bhoga Marga. So you have to measure both. Okay? So a very nice way to go about it is you start from the Aruda and then you go to the Janma Rashi and all that. So if I have Bhoga transit of Rahu, means it's good for Bhoga now, it means it's good for wealth. Rahu in transiting trines to Aruda. Rahu right now is in where is it? It is in Cancer. So if your Aruda Lagna is in a Jala Rashi, trines to Cancer, these last 18 months have been quite nice to you. Okay. Conversely, Ketu, when he transits these trikonas to the Aruda, is Moksha Marga. What do we translate Moksha Marga to in terms of your happiness materially? Less material happiness. Many big expenses. Okay, so Ketu's transit in Trikona to the Aruda is quite negative. Yeah, it can be very positive for spiritual experiences. For example, when I see that transit, I say, okay, now it's time that I go find my Diksha Guru. Now it is time for me to spend some more time on courses, on workshops, learning more. I should consolidate my expenses better. All right? Because it's not a good time for material wealth, but it's a great time for spiritual wealth. Yeah. This will usually be the transit in which you meet your Diksha Guru, you take an important initiation. You could be, if somebody is taking sannyasa, it'll be during this time, renunciation or monkhood, anything like that will be when Ketu is transiting the Trikona to the Aruda Lagna. Yeah, because then he takes you on the Moksha Marga is the idea. All right? So that's how we will read the Ketu transit. We have certain houses which are good from the Chandramsha, and we have certain houses which are good from the Aruda Lagna. And that's the simple way we do it with the nodes. Okay?
Beautiful.
If the nodes are in between, if they're neither Kona, if they're not Kona, that means they are most likely in a, what we would call, he could be in a in-between transit, right? Because let's say, if Rahu goes from your 5th to your 4th, after that his next transit is 3rd, right?
Right.
and then after that second, and then first. So every second of those signs is going to be either good for Ketu or good for Rahu.
Right, right.
So you have these in-between times that are happening in between, which are sort of keeping the status quo. Okay? So that's how we measure it. It's a very easy system when we talk about the Aruda. All right? Whereas when we speak of the Janma Rashi, it is it's quite poignant in the sense that it gives a great support from the world or no support from the world or things like that. We have other methods of measuring the transit. Some people will say, but Visti, that means every certain number of years, when the transit repeats, will it be the same result? And I say, no, we will read the dashas, we will read the transits from the dasha Rashi. So for that, so that you can have two factors. One which is saying, okay, Rahu has come back to his good place. Okay, is it really that good now? See from the dasha planet and see the transit again. And then again use 3rd, 6th, 11th is great for Rahu. Okay.
Right.
5th, 9th, 12th is great for Ketu.
Great.
So that's how I would read transits. Okay.
Amazing. Amazing.
Very to the point. Be careful when the nodes have when the nodes are in trines to the Rashi moon. This is very bad for health. Okay. Is dangerous for health. There's a risk of apam mrityu yoga. Apam mrityu. There's a risk. So that means that during such a time, the person should do mantras and pujas. Apam mrityu happens because of mistakes in judgment, mistakes in habits, doing something, suddenly starting something which is actually very bad for health, which you didn't do before.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. That's what if the nodes are having a bad transit from the moon, trines to the moon. And it is either of them. Both will cause oscillations in the health.
How about kendras from moon?
Kendras from moon? Kendras from moon, so keep in mind, I'm differentiating between transit in the Navamsha moon versus Rashi moon. All right? And when we talk about kendras from Rashi moon, then it's not bad for health, it's fine. But it is bad for wealth from the Amsha moon.
Okay.
Okay? There's a slight difference. It's fine for health, bad for wealth.
Right, right. And you said from Amsha moon in trines is good.
Ketu is, yes. Ketu in 5th and 9th is very good.
Ketu,
yes.
yeah.
Not wrong.
So any other rule you want to share with us?
You can read this from Dashamsha also, Dashamsha moon. If you want to be specific about your career achievements, you can see this from Damsha moon. For all those students out there who are studying, they want to know how their studies are going to go. Let's find your D24 moon placement and see transits from there. Okay.
And the rules remain
how
the
your studies are going.
Trinal and
same principles. Yeah.
Same principles. Great.
The beauty of learning this is now when you open the book and it says, okay, Jupiter is good in 5, 9, 2, 7, 11, right? You read that from the amshas of the moon. All right? Saturn is good in 3, 6, 11. Rahu is good in 3, 6, 11. Ketu good in 5, 9, and 12. You just read that from those moon signs. Then you will start seeing transits working. Before that, it's not sure.
Yeah. Because we are just sticking by to the Rashi chart, not the amshas. So it's
exactly. The amshas are much more accurate. Much more accurate.
And we are like, obviously, what videos I am making also is just from the Rashi charts till now. So
because most people know their Rashi, you know, most people know their Rashi, and that was used. But truth be told, if you're reading Rashi moon, you should only be reading health.
Right. Okay.
You're using Amsha moon, now we're talking. And then the question, which Amsha? Navamsha, always. Dashamsha, for work. Not everybody works. Some people work, so we use Dashamsha. Then how about D24? D24 is education. Not everybody's studying, and not all the time. Yes. So like that, we can differentiate. How about your parents? You want to know about your parents? D12 moon. Yes. How are they doing? Okay. Know when to plan what for your parents. D12 moon. All right.
Great.
So you do this. D3 moon for your siblings. Okay. That is the right way to do transits. Because what may be good for you may not be good for them.
I agree. Yeah. Thank you so much, Visti, for sharing such such important knowledge. Actually, I'm going to use it for sure.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yes.
Because when we can take people to that next level of using transits, then we can do some real work.
Yes, definitely, definitely. That's what is the main purpose. That's the main purpose.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Visti, for such a long series, and we want to see you often. So please be prepared. People are wanting you to be here on VL Astrology. So just let us know what exactly is there in the next video series that you have on mind. So we'll be back soon.
Yeah. It would be my pleasure. Looking forward to the same.
Thank you. Thank
Wishing
you.
You the best, Pandita, to all the listeners and viewers.
Really blessed. Really blessed.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for so much of your time, precious time. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you everyone for liking him and liking my channel because of him. Thank you so much. Stay blessed, everyone. Om Tat Sat.